Can the Alliance take down Team WWF before the Invasion pay-per-view in a few days? Will the old Stone Cold lead Team WWF to victory? And will any match on this show go over 5 minutes without tons of interference? The answers may surprise you. The answer to that third question is a definite no. I'm John Rentham with the retro review of WWE Smackdown, yes, the go-home show for WWF Invasion. I'm going to go back and forth between WWE and WWF because it was still WWF at this point. Sweet shirt, by the way, that my sister designed for me. Yes, she looked at the logo on Google and said, I can do that. And it's a very treasured possession. I want to apologize, by the way, if you hear any noises, but there's a lot of housework being done, so you might hear some booms and bangs and binga banga bongas, and basically you're going to hear some noises. Anyway, I do also want to apologize for the lateness of this retro review. Basically, you're going to get these retro reviews for the Invasion angle and any others when I'm able to do them, because I'm doing a lot of work. I may be getting another job at some point that may work out pretty damn well for me, so you'll get them when you get them. Anyway, this show actually wasn't all that bad, but while there were a few noteworthy things, it was also a giant goddamn clusterfuck because, well, Vince was just throwing all the stuff at the goddamn wall with the WCW and ECW B teams, go, go, go. And we get a lot of recaps, like of the old Stone Cold, and that took like 4 minutes. Seriously, the running time for this particular show, 85 minutes. And recaps probably took up, I'd say, about 15 minutes of it. Now, granted, it is a go-home show, and they're really trying to sell you on the pay-per-view. So, the Alliance arrives. Shane talks about how the course of our industry will be changed on Sunday forever, and that my sister and I have put every cent into this. That's your first mistake right there. We're going to stand tall this Sunday. We're going to lay WWF out. We're beating them. We're just destroying them here. Then Stephanie cuts a promo saying that we're going to be playing dirty. She would know about that. And then Heyman says, well, let's all be honest with each other, because Heyman's always been honest with talents, like about why he can't pay them and stuff like that. But he addressed that in the My Name is Paul Heyman documentary, and I will say that he definitely could work with talent. He just couldn't work with money. And he talks about Vince's father. It's like, Vince took this business away from your grandfather, and what happened? He died like 14 months later. I believe Vince Sr. actually died of cancer, but, twisting the words. Heyman's a master at these promos. Even JR was like, he died of cancer. It wasn't because of that. And then we'll bring back wrestling and, give the last rights to WWF and all that, and kneeling, and they're going to be over the grave of the WWF and do all this and everything. It's going to be like Sid Vicious or Psycho Sid or Sid Udy, whatever name you want to use for him, at Survivor Series 1996 when he hit Jose Lothario with that camera, which somehow caused him to have some issues, and Shawn Michaels got hit with said camera and laid out to massive cheers, except for that one woman in the crowd that was all upset. It was hilarious. Back to this show. We cut to Jericho talking to Vince, and Vince says, well, yeah, words hurt, but you know what? Actions speak louder than words. It's going to be you versus DDP, and Jericho says, I said some stuff about your daughter, like ECW stands for Every Customer Welcome, and that, she is the queen of hardcore, but movies don't count. He says, I would have preferred if you called her a, disgusting, brutal, bottom-feeding, trash bag tramp. About his own daughter, by the way, that he would choke out with a pipe 6 days before her wedding in an I Quit match about just over 2 years after the show. Man, Vince is weird. So, anyway, we get WWF New York ad. Man, that business just failed miserably. So we get DDP and Jericho. It starts out, we get some woo chops. But Ric Flair was still about 4 months away from coming to the company. To a pretty damn big pop right after Survivor Series 2001. Which is about the cutoff point that I'll probably have for doing these retro reviews. I might do them all the way through December, but yeah, we'll see what happens next year as far as doing a lot of retro reviews. I don't think I'm going to be doing stuff like I did for the last year of WCW and this. I don't know if I can do marathon stuff like this considering all the stuff I cover. So, we get DDP taking over, spinning Dr. Bomb for 2. Nick Patrick plays favorites because of course he does. And then he gets blasted. He calls a DQ. And it's funny, Jericho and Nick Patrick, I think, had a match on a 96 or 97 pay-per-view when Nick Patrick was showing favoritism to the NWO. And then he locks the walls of Jericho on Nick and then on DDP, and then hits DDP with a chair. So yeah, DDP really has not been seen as much of a comparable force at this point. And then Heyman talks to Regal about what he could do for him, and then Regal calls him a lot of things and basically says, if you don't get out of my face and get out of my office, I will perform acts of violence on you that will make the bloody devil cry. When Regal is on, he is really fucking on. And he was great here, and despite health issues, still had a hell of a goddamn career. So, We get Lance Storm cutting a promo basically saying this may not be the best day to talk about championships because at this time, the Red Sox had not reversed the curse. And I remember that vividly. Really great shit. Shout out Zach Donegan. I imagine you were quite thrilled to see that as well. So anyway, he gets cut off by Christian and Edge. And basically, instead of Austin versus Edge with Storm interfering, this is Storm versus Christian with Edge interfering and some other interference. And Edge hits a spear when the referees distracted Christian, tops 1, 2, 3. So Sarge comes in, his back's all hurt. He's coming to tell Vince some bad news. Oh, I'm kidding. It's the old Stone Cold is here. Hooray! Then Stacy and Tori talk about the arm wrestling contest that Tori's going to have with Trish because that'll put butts in seats. And Nick says that he will be the ref, despite the fact he's beat up. Basically, Stacy and Tori say they're going to top and dominate Lita and Trish. Have fun seeing that, folks. Tajiri and Regal are talking, and Regal says, Tajiri, your tag team partners will be Kane and Undertaker, who arrive, and then he does some weird shit and everything because Tajiri was doing comedy gold at this point. You need to check his medication, Taker said, and Kane calls him a freak. Funny. It's funny. And then Austin talks to Vince, and Vince is basically orgasmic over the old Stone Cold, and then he goes to get them drinks. Then the Dudleys and Taz take on Kane, Undertaker, and Tajiri. And basically it's sponsored by Corn Nuts, which was funny. I don't know why. I remember when I used to eat Corn Nuts. They really wreak havoc on your goddamn intestines, though. Like, even if you chew them, well, they are, it's like freaking shards of glass. They taste good, though. Tasty shards of glass. Like that Christopher Pike book where that girl was forced to sniff powered up glass up her nose. Why do I think of this weird stuff? People come for the wrestling analysis and they stay for the weirdness. Or come for the weirdness and stay for the wrestling analysis. Or you can come for whatever you want. Anyway, so the match wasn't that bad. Tajiri got targeted. The big guys come in. Taz gets a Taz mission on Tajiri, but he's not legal. Choke slam. 1, 2, 3. And there you go. And the crowd pops big for Undertaker's dong as well as Kane's pyro. His hot flaming pyro all over the Undertaker's dong. They were supposed to be brothers. Gross. Trish and Lita talk strategy, and they're going to stick together. And then Earl says that he will be the ref, and Trish says that Tori's going to find herself in a familiar position. She's going to go down. Oh. And then Bradshaw with Farouk took on O'Hare with Palumbo, and it was basically the same match with Farouk and Palumbo on Raw. And we get some impressive athletic stuff from O'Hare, who's unfortunately no longer with us. Demons had taken hold. It's a real shame, but he was a very good athlete. Clothesline from Hell, 1, 2, 3. Footage of Lita's It Just Feels Right signing for that VHS and I believe DVD, and I should have that DVD. I probably should have held on to it. Could have made a lot of money on it. Anyway, a young AJ Lee is seen crying, meeting her idol. That was really good shit. So, arm wrestling contest, Tori versus Trish. Lita and Stacey there. Nick and Earl are the referees, and while Earl gets hit by Nick, and then Stacey helps Tori win. And I demand a recount, JR says. Really funny. And 3-on-1 on Nick Patrick, where he gets tag teamed by Lita and Trish and also Earl Hebner. This is the second weirdest, tag teaming I've seen on the internet. You don't want to know about the first. Always delete your search history. Vince is on the phone. My divorce proceedings are on hold. Hooray! Linda was probably looking the wrong way and signed the wrong line because Linda has issues like that. And if Linda wasn't a goddamn piece of shit with who she associated with, I wouldn't make fun of her having Shawn Michaels' eyes. So Jeff Hardy and X-Pac took on Kidman and RVD. Huge RVD chance. Pace was good. Actually, I would argue this is probably the best match of the night. Even though the crowd was electric for a lot of the show, this was well worked. I can't remember if it's called the BK Bomb. It was some kind of reverse pedigree. 1, 2, 3 on X-Pac, and Kidman would go to face X-Pac for, I believe, the light heavyweight championship at some point. And Austin ends up talking to Vince. He crowns him with a guitar because the old Stone Cold is back. Team WCW and ECW, rah, 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 sis, boom, bah. And Vince is happy that Austin hit him with a guitar. And as he's all, he's got, ice on his head and everything. Not dice in the mirror. This is not the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Recaps of the stuff from the Raw events again because they really had nothing for this show. Booker and Rhino with Shane and Stephanie versus Austin and Angle. So the entrances were longer than the match, and also Austin was in this thing for about a minute. Jumpstart, Austin comes down to a big pop, stars to both. Cut to DDP having Deborah trapped in the trunk of the limo. Not the worst thing that would happen to Deborah, and involving a wrestler. If you get it, you get it. And he leaves. And it's 2-on-1 in the ring, and then we get a huge brawl with literally, I think about 80 guys just all Human Centipede together. And yes, I am trying to make Human Centipede together a thing, and I will do that. And then DDP drives away, Austin commandeers a limo and chases after him, and the Dudleys get in the ring and they hit Angle with a 3D through a table. The Alliance stands tall, and that's it. That's really it right there. On to the Invasion pay-per-view. That retro review should be up on Thursday. I can't promise. I will do what I can. But yeah, I'm going to continue to do this Invasion angle. But some of these may be up the day of. Some of them may be up a day early. Some of them may be up, a day late. I will do what I can to keep this covered. But thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.